Well, Egyptian outfit Ahly are aiming for an unprecedented third straight CAF Champions League title. Ahly officials had asked the Switzerland-based Court of Arbitration for Sport to force CAF to choose a neutral venue instead, but the appeal failed. So they will go ahead in Morocco. Joining me now to discuss the final is iDiski Times journalist David Kappel. A very good afternoon and welcome to Newzroom Afrika.
Thanks, Valen. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. So, David, playing in Casablanca means Wydad will have the backing of around 35,000 supporters in a crowd that's limited to 45,000. That's two-thirds of the capacity. Just how much of an impact is this going to make for the Egyptian side?
Look, it's going to make a massive impact, obviously, for the home side. You know, Wydad will be massively backed at their home ground by their fans. CAF tried to allocate 10,000 tickets for Ahly, for the Egyptian side, but there have been reports already that only 2,500, were received by the Ahly side, and they're not happy about that. But, if it's one team that can, rise above and fight against all those odds, it's Ahly, because they're the record champions in the competition. They have Pitso at the helm. So it's going to be a very, very interesting game.
Do you think that this is also just a nice distraction to have for Coach Pitso going into this match?
I wouldn't say he's completely happy with it, obviously, because it is a massive disadvantage. There is no way around it, because the final was previously played at home and away ground, and then, you would at least have the backing of your fans in one of the games. But now, in this case, Wydad have a clear home advantage. But, if anybody can rise above it, I think it's Coach Pitso, because he has been in situations like this before. He has actually a very good record against Wydad Casablanca. He's beaten them 5 times in history. He could become the first manager to win the CAF Champions League 3 times in a row. So, if it's one person and one club that can, come out of this scenario positive, I think it's Ahly.
Ahly suffered a huge blow as Mohamed Abdelmomen has been ruled out of the final. How much of an impact is that going to have on the team?
It is going to have an impact because he's done really well. He's a centre back that came to the team after he performed brilliantly for Egypt at the AFCON. But he's been ruled out before in a few games. So, Pitso also said in his pre-match press conferences that, he's had to deal with player absentees. He went to the Club World Cup without 11 of his players, and still managed to bring back a silver medal. So I think Ahly, either which way, will still field a very, very competitive team.
What about Wydad? Because everything's in their favour now. Surely that increases the pressure on them.
Yes, it does. Their coach somewhat, tried to play the underdog role because they only have 2 CAF Champions League titles in history, whereas Ahly has 10. But obviously their fans expect them to come out of this, victorious, because obviously they will play in front of a home crowd. They actually in very good form coming into this game. They are 16 games unbeaten. So it's really going to be interesting. You can make an argument for both teams to win, and it's going to be fireworks on the pitch, I think.
What do you anticipate is going to happen tonight?
I think it's going to be a tight game. Having watched Ahly many times this season, there's often goals in their games. So I'm expecting both teams to score, but Ahly to get away with a 2-1 win. I'm hoping that South African winger Percy Tau can reproduce his form that he showed in the semi-final, where he was involved in all 6 goals against ESC, scoring 2 and assisting 4. If he can repeat that form, it would surely help Ahly and Coach Pitso to lift the title.
This is hugely significant for South Africans. Do you think that the South African football community has given enough applause and enough attention to Coach Pitso and what he's been able to achieve?
That's always a tricky question. I think he does get a lot of respect, in particular from people in the industry. I think the supporters are sort of, a bit on both ends. Because many admire what he's done at Sundowns, but there's also some, bad blood between Coach Pitso and the club, and a few supporters obviously are siding with the club. I personally believe he's done phenomenally well. He's a great representative of South African football, going into North African football, which no other black coach before him has done, and winning all those trophies that he has won. So he deserves all our praise and support from a South African side. And it will not only be him. He has, his technical team, Musi Matlawa, the head analyst, Carl Solomon's analyst, Kabelo Rang, Goa, the fitness coach. So it's going to be, South Africa is going to be well represented. Victor Gomez is going to be the referee. Patrice Motsepe, the CAF president, will be there. So it's still, I think, a proud evening for South Africans, even though we don't have a South African team in the final.
That's from a South African perspective. Do you think that a record-extending 11th crown for Ahly and history for Pitso Mosimane and the club by winning a third consecutive CAF Champions League title would finally get him recognized by the international footballing community?
I think it will. I think internationally, people are already looking at him because they've been to 2 consecutive Club World Cups and they've done really well there. Finished with a silver medal twice, which I think before Ahly only 4 African teams in history managed to reach the semi-final and come back with a medal. So I think the international community is already looking a lot more at him. It's now a matter of those people that hand out the international awards, your FIFA Coach of the Year and so on, that they also give recognition to African coaches more than they have done in the past. And surely, if he wins it again, if he becomes the first manager to win the CAF Champions League 3 years in a row, his 4th overall, surely he deserves also that international recognition.